Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, July 15th, 2026, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the board meeting. Commissioner Scar won't be here this morning. She's out of the office. We'll call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. Our meeting is live streamed, and you can join us online by going to our website. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone in the room to mute your phones as well. If you're online, you can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras turned off. Thank you. Welcome to the folks in the room, all two of you. Thank you for coming. And please sign the guest list and we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. And I don't know, I guess I haven't done it for a while. So we'll do it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We have no one signed up for public comment. Okay, great. We will move on. We do have two non-agenda items. The two unscheduled agenda items will be following agenda item number 7. So we will start off with the legislative administrative portion, and agenda item 5 is consideration of First Amendment to subaward agreement with Northwest Medical Foundation of Tillamook, DBA Adventist Health Tillamook for United States Department of Justice Opioid Use Response Program Services. Melody Ayers, R. Tillamook Opioid Substance Use Response Project Director of Adventist Health Tillamook. Good morning again.
Good morning, commissioners.
You get the pleasure of your visits. See you guys every other week.
Well, when you do grants, and some people think grants are free money, but they are not. They come with a lot of strings and a lot of things that you need to do to both satisfy the requirements of the funder as well as to communicate with your community what's going on. And so I'm delighted to be here this morning. We have an amendment. The county and Northwest Medical Foundation of Tillamook doing business as Adventist Health Tillamook. It's a mouthful. The hospital and the county have been partners in the COSIP grant, the federal COSIP grant since 2024. And primarily to this point, that's been paying for my and Bridget's time to manage the overall opioid and substance use projects that we have going on. We have about 5 funding streams that we're managing and working with community partners and moving the work forward as we can to make a difference in our community. This amendment follows a grant award modification approval by the Bureau of Justice Assistance that adds in project management purchase supplies. It adds harm reduction outreach, naloxone, what we sometimes call Narcan, brand name versus generic, along with outreach supplies, as well as we are adding, well, we're not adding in, but we are adding to the Adventist Health Management side of things, the data and evaluation project that we are in process of signing an agreement with Portland State University, their criminal justice department, working with Dr. Chris Campbell and his team to set up a way for them to help us say, to definitively identify what's working, what's not, what's the best use of our small amount of resources and time. And so we have just over 101,000 over a 12-month contract for them to dig in deep and help us with that data evaluation. And so that's also been approved. All of these I work with Isabel Gilda and Commissioner Scar to advise on submitting grant award modifications through the Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance, Just Grants platform, which can give me more challenges some days than I care to deal with. But you do what you got to do when you're doing good work for your community. So this amendment adds project supplies, the researcher, and also some travel to national conventions, conferences, not conventions, it's a conference. And just for a heads up, we have Tillamook, our project has been accepted to do a presentation for the Oregon Office of Rural Health, their Fall Rural Conference, and working with Commissioner Scar to present there. And The main theme of our presentations is doing a lot with a little and pivoting and using community partnerships where possible. So we're doing that. We also have a request in along with our technical assistance team, who is actually driving that proposal submission, to do a presentation along the same lines for the National PTAC conference in Tucson in December. And so that's police treatment and community collaboration. It's a national organization that supports the deflection work that we're doing. They support it internationally as well as nationally. So coming back from that, that bit of extra information, one of the supplies is Narcan naloxone. I invite everyone, while I've got the camera and the microphone, to stop by the hospital Adventist Health's booth, first aid booth during the fair, August 5 to 8. We will have supplies of Narcan available for our community. We will have staff there that can help you with questions, train you how to use it, and to be able to have it handy in case you need it if you see someone who has an overdose. And some people have said, well, I don't know anyone who's an addict, to which I say, do you have pain pills in your cupboard? Could your grandchildren, your extended family accidentally get into those at some point? It's not all about addiction, it's about overdose, and that can happen to more quickly than you might imagine. And so having it on hand is a good thing. It's a community thing. One thing that I'd also like to take the opportunity to address, but I won't talk all morning, don't worry, is I have had this said to me in so many words. So much Narcan in our community is the reason why addiction is not being solved. I was quite taken back when I heard that, because my thoughts and the thoughts of our Tillamook Coalition that Bridget and I helped to lead is that a successful resuscitation from an overdose gives that person another chance to turn their life around. And so I would just like to just say for the record, Narcan is not the reason we have addiction. Narcan is the reason that people are being helped and are being helped to make a different choice to turn their life around. And it doesn't happen in a straight line, but in some situations now we have several people who are on their way to turning their life around. And so I just wanted to address that, but these funds will help us purchase more of that for outreach in our community. So at that point, I will say, let me stop talking and ask if there are any questions.
Well, I just want to say a couple of things. One, grants are difficult, and we appreciate the work that you're doing with those. And it seems like you said it's free money is not free, and it's really not. I mean, and it seems like it's getting more difficult every day. Everybody's nodding their heads in here. You can't see that on the camera, but everybody that deals with grants in this room, all my staff and the treasurer is just going, yep. And so I appreciate that. It's a lot of work. Folks have no idea that sometimes we don't go for grants because of the amount of work to manage them. Takes more time than it would and more money, and it's not great. And I also am so impressed that you're going to be that we're going to be presenting, because when we started this and we were going to take a different path, it was all this fear the state wouldn't accept it, and I think we all pushed forward and said, we're going to do something that's right for our community. Because one of the things I've noticed being in office is the one size fits all from Salem doesn't usually fit here. We are a very unique community. Even along the coastline, I think we're unique with our relationship with the hospital and in the city police being involved in this. So I think it's really cool that our path of deflection is at least being recognized as being viable and working. And I thank all the work you do. And as far as the Narcan and the naloxone goes, one of the things I want to say, these are nasal sprays. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to do any kind of really invasive procedure to help somebody. And I think those comments that you hear, and as a police officer, I heard this a lot, is they can't make the connection. They see someone struggling with addiction and they can't think that'll never be my family. Those people are doing this. But like you said, these opioids are in most people's medicine cabinets, and they have them, and they can be accidentally overdosed. Children can get a hold of them. So having this, why not? I have one in my car,
Two.
just in case, right? Just in case something happens to them seeing it. So thank you for that. I'm fully supportive.
As am I. Good morning, Melody. Thanks for being here with us and thanks for doing all this work. And I agree with my colleague. It is a lot of work. I really appreciate your comments about harm reduction, that addressing harm reduction is not increasing addiction. It's saving lives. And I really appreciate your focus on it's saving lives in order to give people another chance to live, but also another chance to recover. So I'm really grateful for your work. I do have one question about, you were talking about the researcher and working with Portland State to do data collection. And I'm just curious about that. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that is?
We're looking at, and I don't have that agreement in front of me, that one is wending its way through the legal review process between Adventist Health and Portland State University. But working with them, what we're wanting to do is they will have some information that they get from de-identified sources that are publicly available and otherwise available, freedom of information and that sort of thing. So they will be working on statistics through that venue, that avenue, but they also plan to do some focus groups and some interviews, some lived experience interviews, interviews with people who have this lived experience. And what our hope is, and there's a scope of work, and I would be glad to forward that to the commissioners so that they could be aware of what the scope of work is. I know Commissioner Scar has had a copy, but it occurs to me it would be helpful for me to send one individually to each of you to say this is the scope of work, to say which pathways are working, which training helps most, because we want to do some crisis intervention training with law enforcement and our agencies in Tillamook County, and that is one of the projects from the COSIP grant that has gotten pushed into this extension, this year 4, if you will, to do training to say, here are the resources in town. Here's how you easily access them. Here's what's available. Here's kind of where the brick wall is right now. And to be able to help first responders, those co-responding, and just as a team, not as a bunch of individual community agencies, to be able to come together and say, here's what we've got. And to be able to measure that, do a pre and post on that evaluation, on that training, as well as then to identify, here are still some gaps that will need to be addressed, possibly after the end of this grant with other funds or other resources. Sometimes we need money to do things, and sometimes it just takes somebody doing it, whether they get paid or not. And so there is looking at the pathways, as well as from both where are gaps, where we know there are gaps, and then also looking at it from the people being served. What is their experience? What do they see that would be helpful for other people in their shoes in the future?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move approval of a First Amendment subaward agreement with Northwest Medical Foundation of Tillamook, doing business as Adventist Health Tillamook, for the United States Department of Justice opioid use response program services.
Yeah, we'll second that. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Melody.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got a couple of items coming up, including the unscheduled. First one will be agenda item 6. Rachel, should we just be reading all of these, you think, or should we do them as separate, each separate?
I would read them all together into the record, and then when Commissioner Bell makes a motion, she can say.
Break them out separate.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. So the first one is agenda item 6, consideration of residential real estate agreement for property located at Township 4 South, Range 9 West, Section 30 DO, tax lot 01000 at 19755 Island Road, Hebo, Oregon. The second will be agenda item 7, which is consideration of a real estate agreement for property located at Township 5 South, Range 11 West, Section 25, AO, Tax Lot 00400 at 47405 Highway 101 South, Nescoin. The next item is an unscheduled, the first unscheduled, which is consideration of a real estate agreement for property located at 36505 Big Trout Road, Hebo, Oregon, Township 4 South, Range 9 West, Section 30D, Tax Lot 01200. And finally, consideration of a residential real estate agreement for property located at 21645 Wilson River Highway, Tillamook, Oregon, Township 1 South, Range 8 West, Tax Lot 1502. And it's Brian Oley from Engineering Program Manager at Public Works. That was a mouthful. Why don't you tell us what we're doing?
Yeah, I will try to explain that mouthful. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I was having some mic issues yesterday. Yeah, so all 4 of those items are related to the Big Trout Bridge in Three Rivers community of Hebo. As I'm sure you're aware, the river in that location, which is named Three Rivers, has been rapidly changing over the last several years and causing damage to the public works infrastructure, namely the bridge over Big Trout Road, which we replaced 2 or 3 years ago and didn't even make, which was a temporary but expected to be a longer term fix. Didn't even last a year and a half and is now also falling into the river. And so rather than continue to repair and fully replace, which is a pretty large bridge, Public Works has deemed the best course of action to remove that bridge completely. And in doing this, the county is required by both federal and state law to provide relocation assistance services to the residents affected on the other side of that bridge. So starting with agenda item 6, the first residential real estate agreement is in the amount of $315,000, and that's funded by Public Works to acquire the property and dwelling at 19755 Island Road in Hebo, and that is the first of the 2 residents that needs to be relocated. And so with that, Public Works is requesting approval of that agreement to purchase that property.
Okay.
You want me to go through all 4 of them?
Yeah, go
or-
through all of them, then we'll
Okay.
break them down and vote on them
Okay.
separately. Thank you.
Okay, and so yes, item 7, also related to Big Trout Bridge. This is a residential real estate agreement in the amount of $16,050, and that is for the county to provide the required relocation assistance services in the form of an earnest money to the displaced property owner at 19755 Island Road. And that earnest money will be used for that displaced resident to purchase a new property and dwelling located at 47405 Highway 101 South, Nescoin, Oregon. And so that's the one property owner purchasing, and then the earnest money to purchase their new property. And so moving on to the unscheduled items, A, also again related to Big Trout Bridge. This is a residential real estate agreement in the amount of $415,000 funded by Public Works to acquire the property and dwelling at 36505 Big Trout Road in Hebo. And this is the second of the 2 residents that needs to be relocated. So that's purchasing that property. And then lastly, unscheduled item B is a residential real estate agreement in the amount of $20,970. And this is for the county to provide the relocation assistance services in the form of earnest money for the property owner at 36505 Big Trout Road. And this earnest money will be used to purchase a new property and dwelling located at 21645 Wilson River Highway, Tillamook, Oregon. So with that, Public Works is requesting approval of these 4 agreements.
Great. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, just if folks watching or in the room want to know, we've discussed this a lot here, and there's some public meetings where we discussed the situation. It's an unfortunate one where the river is reclaiming these 2 properties and residents, and although we tried, the Public Works has tried to continue to build bridges, it's getting to the point where it's going to be several $1 million leading to 2 properties. So it was the most fiscally responsible to do it this way. As Brian mentioned, this does not come out of the general fund. It does come out of Public Works, which still stings. But it feels like it's the right thing to do, and the folks that have to be relocated are being kept whole. So I fully support this.
Thank you, as do I. And we, as you said, we have been working on this, talking about it. Public Works has been working on it for a long time. Brian spoke about that the bridge failed, it's been replaced, it's been repaired, it's been an ongoing process, and the river keeps moving. So I am glad that those homeowners are being taken care of, and that we're required by law to do it, but also it's the right thing to do. And I'm glad that we're doing it. And that they found, I'm also personally glad that they found homes that they want to move to, that will work for them. I mean, I'm hoping they want to move there, that will work for them in Tillamook County. I'm glad that we're not losing those residents. So I think this was the best solution in a really difficult situation, and also financially difficult for the county. So I appreciate in a previous meeting, you asking Public Works to identify what are the other bridges that put us in this risk situation. Because because this was our bridge, it's our responsibility to maintain or keep the bridge that goes to those homes. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Brian, just to confirm, and I don't need details, but we are in talks with FEMA regarding hopefully some reimbursement for this. Is that going to be possible?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And Chris has been working more closely with that, but
Yes.
yes.
That's great. And I want to thank everybody. We actually, Chris, Public Works, Chris and Brian, also employed, forgot the Oregon, DHS has an emergency management arm. And I know that they reached out to these folks to try to find, because the bridge failed during a storm. The fire department's been involved in this, in the discussions here about the safety of the people. And so this is really the best path. Fully.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for some motions.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move approval of a residential real estate agreement for property located at Township 4 South, Range 9 West, Section 30 DO, Tax Lot 01000-19755 Island Road in Hebo, Oregon.
Yeah, I will second that. I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We'll streamline these ones.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move approval of a residential real estate agreement for property located at Township 5 South, Range 11 West, Section 25AO, Tax Lot 00400 at 47405 Highway 101 South in Nestwin, Oregon.
Did you move approval? I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a residential real estate agreement for property located at 36505 Big Trout Road in Hebo, Oregon, Township 4 South, Range 9 West, Section 30D, Tax Lot 01200.
I second that. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
And finally, Mr. Chair, I move approval of a residential real estate agreement for property located at 21645 Wilson River Highway in Tillamook, Oregon, Township 1 South, Range 8 West, Tax Lot 1502.
And I will second that. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Brian, thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, we're going to move on to agenda item 8. This is consideration of a collection site and used mattress management services agreement with Mattress Recycling Council for a mattress stewardship program. Justin Weiss.
Oh,
I'm gonna
Paul,
say
you
today. I
nailed
think
it.
I've been saying Weiss. I had a discussion with other folks in town that said that local name is Weiss, but you're from outside the area, so
Ah,
it's Weiss. So today you're just
yeah, we've talked about it a few times, and it's I accept both, so no
Okay,
problem
great.
there. But Weiss would be preferred, I guess. Yeah.
Weiss is it. That's what it is. Thank you for coming.
So this morning we have a agreement with the Mattress Recycling Council, which is a producer responsibility organization, basically the mattress industry, based on a law that was passed in Oregon and across some other states, is now more logistically and fiscally responsible for recycling the mattresses they sell in Oregon. So there is a fee at the price of purchase that the public does pay that goes into the program. This agreement would offer free disposal at the Manzanita transfer station for mattresses. as well as Box Springs. And we're hoping to potentially roll that out in Tillamook. I've talked with Able Recycling. I'd love to have 2 locations. I think Tillamook would be a good central spot, but that's something to work on moving forward. But this agreement will be for Manzanita, free disposal. We will receive a $2 per mattress reimbursement fee, which will help a little bit. And there's also a $15,000 stipend for infrastructure, where we may upgrade the loading dock up there, get some attachments for the forklift. So yeah, I think good all around. It took us a little while to get the agreement over the edge with county council, but this is going to be a little bit more of a logistical challenge for us. But since people are paying at the point of purchase now, I do want to offer the free services, and if we can recycle more materials, it's a good thing. So happy to answer any questions if you do have any. And I'll also just mention we did have a one-day collection event in Tillamook last October. Hoping to do that again in the fall, something at the fairgrounds for free mattress recycling. But again, this will be ongoing year-round free disposal for recycling at the Manzanita transfer station. Happy to answer any questions if you do have any, commissioners.
Great. I do have a question. I was thinking about something. Is this a federal program or state? Like when you're paying for the point of purchase?
So with a lot of these types of programs, it typically goes state by state. They don't pass them at the federal level. It'll be, one state that passes it's usually Washington, Oregon, California, and Colorado kind of lead the charge, but it's state by state patchwork legislation typically.
Okay, great. Well, that gives me an idea about our RV problem and our abandoned RV problem. This is basically what this is to avoid having mattresses just thrown in the woods or along the road, on the dump road and all that. That's what we hope this happens. And so that was one of the ideas, was how do we fund the removal to encourage people not to dump those RVs. So anyways, sorry to get sidetracked there. I just was curious. It gives me an idea.
Sure.
That's all.
Okay, you ready for a
I
motion?
am.
Mr. Perry, move approval of a collection site and used mattress management services agreement with Mattress Recycling Council for a mattress stewardship program.
And I will second that. You have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Yes.
commissioners.
Motion carries. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 9, consideration of grant agreement number 2026-HPSF-5 with Habitat for Humanity for the Housing Production Solutions Fund project. Sarah Absher, Director of Community Development. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you so much. So yes, we have 2 agenda items today. This is the first of 2 regarding the county's Housing Production Solutions Fund. This fund is supported by short-term rental operator license fees, and it is a grant program where $400,000 are allocated each year from those fees to help support local affordable and workforce housing projects. Just to recap quickly, the Housing Commission reviewed several applications. We want to thank our applicants again for submitting their proposals this year. There were 5 proposals that have come before you, that came before you April 1st, where direction was given to staff to go ahead and start the grant award agreements. And so 2 of those were a contingency. And so the first 2 that are done are before you today of that batch of grant awards for this year. And so agenda item number 9 is the Habitat for Humanity grant award agreement for $50,000. And so the request today is your signature on this agreement, please. We have already had Habitat sign the agreement. So your signatures are the last and final signatures to complete this award distribution. And it is for $50,000, and it will support 12 new housing units in Bay City. And these are also middle housing units. So we're really excited for these projects to move forward. Thank you.
Okay, great. Sure, you'd like to say something.
Well, I don't have any questions, but I'm fully supportive. I think this is really exciting. 10 new housing units is very exciting in Tillamook County, and such a great use of these funds. So I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I do too. I was excited about this project when I heard it on the Housing Commission, and I think they're just going to do some it's an amazing project. So I'm really happy to fund this.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm so sorry, Commissioner Bell, I misspoke. It is 12 units. My apologies. I don't know why I had 10 in my brain, but yes, it's 12. It's actually
Even
12
better.
units. So it's 2 more. We get 2 bonuses.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of grant agreement number 2026-HPSF-5 with Habitat for Humanity for the Housing Production Solutions Fund, HPSF project.
I will second that. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next one, Sarah, is agenda item 10, consideration of grant agreement number 2026-HPSF-1 with Schoolyard LLC for the Housing Production Solutions Fund project. Sarah Absher again.
Thank you, Commissioner. So this grant award is for $100,000. And so this is the project that I think the community knows best as the Beaver Grade School project with Kevin and Katie Schluka. And this $100,000 grant award will help support 32 new units. So they're going to renovate the school building and create 32 apartments in that structure.
Fantastic.
This is thrilling, and I have had the opportunity to visit the site and walk around in the school and envision how the classrooms will become apartments. And it's really, it's so cool. It makes me so grateful, to the owners, developers, Kevin and Katie Schluka, that they're willing to, their whole goal, their mission is to improve community livability through workforce housing. And so it's really the idea of what that will be for the community, a real community hub there, is just extraordinary. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that work can be supported through this fund.
Absolutely. I'm excited about the project, and we say this all the time. I'm going to call it out again, but I love the fact that we have this Housing Production Solution Fund where we have short-term rentals contributing to the creation of middle-income housing. And I think that's unique. I'm not sure how many other areas do that. I know that a lot of other commissioners, when they go places, ask us about it because it's a unique approach, and I think it's fantastic. So 100% supportive.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of grant agreement number 2026-HPSF-1 with Schoolyard LLC for the Housing Production Solutions Fund project.
I will second that. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
And here comes your second in command. Coming up. Okay, agenda item 11 is consideration of amendment number 2 to State of Oregon Department of Environmental Quality Coronavirus State Fiscal Grant Agreement number 089-23 for Oregon ARPA Financial Aid. Chris Kiola, Environmental Health Manager, Department of Community Development. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. I thought I'd show up in person.
Love that.
See you.
Thank you. Good to see you too. In front of you is an amendment to the original grant that we signed in 2023, and it's a reduction of the awarded amount. So there's a couple questions I'm sure you'll have, and I'll try to explain it. The original grant was for $1.5 million to replace failing septic systems in Clatsop, Columbia, and Tillamook counties. The rollout of this, I want to try to be delicate. There were some bumps. It's a program that Tillamook County is just managing the money. It comes from the state through CAT, and then CAT does all the work, the groundwork, and invoices us. We pay CAT, and then we get reimbursed from the state. So we don't actually have that money. We just get reimbursed for what we give to CAT. Does that make any sense? Probably not. Okay. So it's not like we have to give money up. What happened is the grant agreement started in 23, and all the funds needed to be allocated at a certain point last year. And once that money was allocated to these projects to replace systems, they have to be completed and finished up by the end of the grant cycle. Well, there are some challenges to getting a lot of these systems. I mean, we've done a lot of great work. Don't get me wrong, and I'll kind of give some numbers there. There were some challenges to getting all the money spent. And then at a point, I don't recall exactly when, but the state wanted to know how much money they could get back from unspent funds because they have some bills that they have to cover. And what a lot of these grants that they had out, if they were not going to be able to spend all their funds, they wanted that money back. So that's why this agreement or this amendment to the agreement is in front of you. It's about $350,000 that we couldn't spend. Some of the challenges were the initial rollout. Getting people to talk to the government about their failing septic systems was a challenge. Some people still just are hesitant about having anyone come onto their property and find out what's going on. And there are lessons that we learned on how to better do some better outreach and whatnot, if this ever comes up again. However, there's a few systems that haven't been done, but right now we've replaced and repaired 37 systems, 17 of which were in Tillamook County, 13 in Columbia, and 7 in Clatsop. So we have gotten some of the worst case scenarios out there, up to 37. And by the time it's done, probably close to 45 systems, failing septic systems, will be repaired or replaced. Some of these systems cost a lot more. They were challenging systems and whatnot, so they cost a lot more than initially thought. And the outreach, you know, we could have done a little better job with that, but we did get quite a few done. And so there's $350,000 that we weren't able to spend, and so the state wants it back, and that's why the amended agreement. There
Great.
is in a nutshell.
So this is the end of this program, or will it be?
This is the end of the program, and I have not heard if there will be a similar program in the future. TEP, Tillamook Estuary Partnership, had another grant where we were able to, and they're doing several systems. So there's smaller programs out there that when we get our hands on little chunks of money, we'll try to do other projects like this. But this was originally coronavirus money left over from the feds, and so they were trying to spend it down. That source probably won't come back up again, obviously. But who knows? I hope there's more.
And the state wasn't willing to extend the timeline,
No, they wanted that money back.
even though there are systems that we could be doing outreach to.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that because it was ARPA funding?
Yes.
The hard deadline?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful for the work that did get done. 17 repaired or replaced systems in Tillamook County is a big deal, not only for those homeowners, but of course for the quality of water in the area and, wildlife, et cetera. So I think that's great work. And it's too bad we couldn't spend all the money, but I think that's great work. And I appreciate you leading this grant. So thank you.
Sure. And at the end of it, we'll do a complete wrap up on it.
Great. Yeah, I'm excited about when I heard about this for a time. So great work.
Mhm.
Sorry, we're losing
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. But the homeowners that did get replaced, number one, the environment, cleaning up stuff that's going to the environment that shouldn't. And the homeowners that did get these systems replaced and repaired are very, very grateful for it.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm
So
sure.
yeah, they're pretty happy about that.
It's win-win really all the way. around.
Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic.
I can think of a couple of houses in Tillamook County that people have just abandoned because it started with the failed septic system and then they couldn't live there anymore. And then, it's a downhill slide from there.
It really is.
And we all know of some challenged properties right now, but the owners of the property that don't allow us on the property and they don't want anything to do with any government assistance, that's another thing too. I mean, we know of some out there. It's like, how do we get those fixed,
Yeah.
without their cooperation?
Well, and I appreciate the partnership with TEP, and the work will continue maybe on a smaller,
Mhm.
level, but fantastic.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move approval of amendment number 2 to State of Oregon Department of Environmental Quality Coronavirus State Fiscal Grant Agreement number 089-23 for the Oregon ARPA financial aid.
Okay, I'll second that. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, agenda item 12, consideration of an intergovernmental agreement number HB-IGA-R-18214-2026 with Multnomah County for Health Officer and Medical Examiner Services, Marlene Putnam, Administrator, Health and Human Services. And it is Marlene. I always look up and it's Maya and someone else, and I feel stupid. So good morning.
That happened like twice in 30 years. So
Okay, well,
I
both
feel
times with
okay
me.
about that.
Dramatic.
Well, good morning. So
Good
yes,
morning.
we're talking about the Multnomah County Intergovernmental Agreement relating to the Public Health Officer and the Medical Examiner. You recently saw this item, if it's looking familiar. It is before you today to amend that agreement, primarily just to change the dates. There was a discrepancy between two dates in the document. So you'll note under the term in the statement of work that this commences July 1 of 2026, and it will be renewed in 1 year increments thereafter. The scope of work is the same and delineates the duties that are the responsibility of this one person who works in Multnomah County to do these two roles for us, to serve as the local health officer and to also serve as the medical examiner. The approximate FTE is, I believe it's 0.2. So we would have split that time between the two departments, the district attorney's office and the Health and Human Services Department, as well as receive specific billing from this individual at Multnomah County, delineating the work that they're doing. The total cost, just by way of a reminder, shall not exceed $100,000 for the contract term, as previously described. And I think that's a summary, just by way of a reminder and to indicate that those dates were changed.
Okay, great. Yep. We talked about this at length and we couldn't sign it because the dates were wrong. So that's all. This is just some housekeeping.
Yeah.
Agreed. Thank you. Thanks, Marlene.
Mhm.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of intergovernmental agreement number HT-IGA-R-18214-2026 with Multnomah County for health officer and medical examiner services.
I will second that. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Agenda item 13 is also Marlene. Consideration of a professional services agreement number 26/27-007 with VMG Health for Finance Department Assessment, Revenue Cycle Department Assessment for the Health Department.
Yes, so as we are starting our new fiscal year and we're improved our productivity and revenue this last cycle, we are looking to plan for the coming year and working with what was Community Link Consulting and was purchased by VMG Health. We've worked with this consulting firm for many years. They help us with our financial reporting for primarily, I would say, the federal reports relating to our federally qualified health center. So again, as we're starting the new fiscal year and we're anticipating the retirement of our chief financial officer in December of this year, we're working with this consulting firm to do two assessments. One is basically an assessment of the entire finance division within our department, and the other is to review the revenue cycle to see if there are different ways in that to improve revenue production, but also just when do we submit things to billing? Are we having income within the required time frame of the first 120 days? Over 70% in the first 30 days, those kind of things, just to see if there's ways that we can ensure that the revenue is coming in a timely manner, and then we're not missing any opportunities for coding and the like. So this agreement, as indicated, is for $38,000 with VMG. The term of the agreement is from June 15, 2026, and would end in December 31 of 2026. They anticipate that most of this work will be able to be done within the first 2 months. We've met with them to talk about the scope and some of the initial surveys of our staff, which have already been done.
Okay. Commissioner Bell?
I don't have any questions.
I don't either.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chair, I move approval of professional services agreement number 26/27/27-007 with VMG Health for a finance department assessment and revenue cycle department assessment for the health department.
I will second that. I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Marlene, consideration of a memorandum of understanding with the Halem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy for Women, Infant, and Child Site Services.
Yes, we're very appreciative of the folks at Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy for working with us to provide space for WIC services in North County. We need to have better access for some of those families in the northern part of the county, and Gail and team have worked with us to make sure we have that space. So we will be providing services at their site 2 days per month on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. Unless our staff aren't available for some reason. And we will provide the traditional WIC services there. And there's no cost to us for use of this space, which we also really appreciate. And we'll make sure that we have the equipment and so forth there as delineated in the agreement. This agreement or memorandum of understanding begins once everybody signed it and will continue until termination pursuant to the provisions listed here with notice or without notice as described in section 7. So again, we're just really appreciative and look forward to beginning to provide services in that area or continue
Great.
to provide.
Oh, what a
Sorry,
great-
my camera keeps turning off. My apologies.
It's okay. We wonder what happened to you. Thank you. What a great partnership, Commissioner Doe.
I agree. I am grateful for the partnership and also for the services to women, infants, and children. So I'm fully supportive.
Motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a memorandum of understanding with Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy for Women, Infant, and Child Site Services.
And I will second that. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you're in the home stretch, Marlene. Agenda item 15, consideration of an appointment of Sandra Hasnick to the local public health administrator, as a local public health administrator.
Yes, so this is exciting because we know we have our new administrator. Her first day is tomorrow. And part of the process for this job, in addition to the federally qualified health center, is to serve as the local public health administrator. And that requires that the person is appointed by the Board of County Commissioners to that role as described in statute. And so the document that is included with your materials basically describes that. And it says, as the governing body of the local public health authority of Tillamook County, that you hereby approve and appoint Sandra Hasnick as the local public health administrator for Tillamook County, who's replacing me, effective on her first day tomorrow. And it's under Oregon administrative rules. As part of that, we have to confirm and testify that she's qualified to serve in this role, which means submitting her CV. She does have a doctorate degree. She does have experience working in the area, and that meets those qualifications. So she will serve as the administrator based on this attestation and agreement.
Okay, great. Commissioner Doe?
Thank you. Well, this is momentous. I look forward to working with Sandra, and also I want to thank you for your many years of excellent service to Tillamook County Community Health Department. Your leadership has been extraordinary, and we've been so very fortunate to have you in this role. And I'm sorry for us that you're going, and very happy for you. And so I just want to thank you.
And I couldn't agree more. Thank you again. And I'm excited, and I appreciate the hard work that you guys all did with the recruitment for this position. And I know how important it was for you to leave the health department in good hands. So I appreciate all that as well.
Thank
All
you,
right.
and thank you for your kind words.
You're welcome. All right, Mr. Chair, I move approval of the appointment of Sandra Hasnick as the local public health administrator.
I will second that. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you, Marlene. Okay, coming up is agenda item 16. Consideration of an order in the matter of rescinding board order number 26-025 and modifying fees for the environmental health services at Tillamook County Health and Human Services Department. Jamie Craig, Environmental Health Program Manager. Health and Human Services.
Jamie is with me here, just moving my camera around a little bit.
Morning,
so she can
Commissioners.
Share
Good
information.
morning.
I'm here to present the annual fee increase for environmental health services starting in the calendar year 2027. We have approval from the state through our fiscal means, and it will be a 4% increase as has been stated in previous years. And we are asking for your approval for that.
Okay, great. And I did have a chance to look at this and we spoke about it. I think we have asked our departments to try to come up with some kind of we did a baseline and we're trying to figure out how we can increase fees on a regular basis tied to CPI or something else. And we haven't really discovered or decided what that'll look like for each department and whether it'll be consistent throughout departments. After talking to both Marlene and Jamie, I think 4% is a reasonable amount and consistent with, or even less than many other places in the state. So I support this.
As do I.
Okay, great. I'm ready for a motion.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move approval of order number 26-046 in the matter of rescinding board order number 26-025 and modifying fees for environmental health services at the Tillamook County Health and Human Services Department.
And I will second that. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you. I'm sure you'll still see me around for some things as some part-time work.
I hope so.
Fantastic.
Okay, thanks again. Bye.
Okay. Agenda item 17, consideration of an order in the matter of a notice of intent to award a prevailing wage rate contract for construction for the Tillamook County Roof Rehabilitation Project. Kevin Jolly, Facilities Supervisor.
Good morning, everyone. As stated, this is a notice of intent to award a contract for the Tillamook County Roof Rehabilitation Project. Starting off, we advertised the call for bids in the Daily Journal of Commerce, Oregon Buys, and the Headlight Herald. And after all that was said and done, in the end, we received 8 bids. And after reviewing the bids, we decided to go with the bid submitted by Pacific Construction Solutions in the amount of $485,605 and no pennies. And essentially just seeking your consideration and approval to proceed on with this. And I can answer any questions you might have.
Okay, Commissioner Bell.
Thank you for doing this work, Kevin. We obviously need a roof. We need that. I'm aware that there are places where the roof is leaking, and it's our responsibility to be good stewards of the building, the county's building. And of course, that $500,000 is a shocking amount, but I'm always shocked by how much these things cost. I wonder, can you tell us how long this roof lasted and how long the new one is warranted for?
Well, there's the current roof that we have. It's lasted in one way, shape, or form for probably 20 years, maybe a little slightly longer than that. It's been re-roofed several times. And so I think when we replaced everything down to the concrete, the first time was back in 2020 or 2006.
Oh, wow.
And after that, there's been several issues, and we called back another contractor to re-roof the courthouse. And that was like in 2018, 2019. And that didn't work out as well because they applied the new roofing over the old roofing that was already saturated. So that doesn't work very well. So the new roof is probably a 25-year roof once everything's all said and done. So and they're going to take everything down to the concrete and then, reapply the roofing materials, not just go over the old materials again. And so taking that into consideration, we're looking at about 25 years, maybe a little longer.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I hope so. I know that it's hard to have roofs here in Tillamook County, and in the jail also, we've got tremendous problems at the Justice Center with roofs and leaking. And even personally, like I got, I think 25 years out of my roof and I need to replace my roof and it's not cheap. So this is expensive, but I thought it would be, I feared it would be more. So with that, I guess I'm ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of order number 26-047 in the matter of a notice of intent to award a prevailing wage rate contract for construction for the Tillamook County Roof Rehabilitation Project.
And I will second that. I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? We'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Okay.
Aye. Thank you, Kevin. Motion passes.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
You as well. Okay, agenda item 19, consideration of fiscal year 2026 United States Forest Service election I did skip 18, sorry. Thank you for catching that. I did my little check mark. Agenda item 18, consideration of a Tillamook Peoples Utility District line extension agreement for Phase 3 of the underground electrical service project at Tillamook County Fairgrounds, 4603 3rd Street, Tillamook. Tammy Von Sergen, Director of Tillamook County Fairgrounds. Sorry, I skipped over you. It
It's
wasn't
totally-
intentional.
It's totally fine. Hey, it's fine. It's good. Thank
morning.
you and good morning. I had trouble saying my own name for a while, so it's completely acceptable. So I'm here before you this morning. We are talking about our electrical at the fairgrounds. This is phase 3. We have work order 204024 from the Tillamook PUD. This is their hard estimate, and the total cost for this for their portion will be $39,668.80. And we are looking for approval to do the line extension agreement so we can continue with the project.
Okay, great. I don't have any questions, Commissioner Bill.
I'm fully supportive. I was at the Fair Board meeting last night. The Fair Board's excited about this. It's moving forward. So, yeah, I'm to support it. Mr. Chair, I move approval of a Tillamook People Use Utility District line extension agreement for Phase 3 of the underground electrical service project at Tillamook County Fairgrounds, 406 3rd in Tillamook.
And I will second that. And so I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor, aye. Now we'll move. Thanks, Cammy.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to agenda 19, consideration of fiscal year 2026 United States Forest Service election to receive and allocate Secure Rural Schools Act state payment. Isabel, Gilda, and Deborah are elected treasurer. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Isabel.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. I provided you with a highlighted spreadsheet. And today we are going to be considering the election to receive Secure Rural Schools funding or the ONC timber receipts. And both those numbers are in front of you. The first one is 678,000 and the ONC counties is 99,000. I should read into the record exactly. Yeah, I gave you my spreadsheet. So the excuse me, the SRS payment under consideration is $678,450.34, and the estimated ONC 25% payment is $99,865.92. So what these are, the ONC payment is a baseline formula as a share of the actual timber receipts from BLM and ONC land. The payment straight to the county is unrestricted general revenue, whereas the SRS payment has restrictions. So the Secure Rural Schools is a stabilized alternative formula available when Congress reauthorizes it in place of a baseline receipt formula. We select SRS. It's not permanent because it requires periodic Congress authorization. So I think the last time we did this was 2023. So if we elect the SRS money, where does that go? That's the $678,000. It's split up between 3 funds: Title I, Title II, and Title III. Title I is paid to the county, and it's split between the road department. 75% goes to the road fund and 25% to the school fund. So what that translates out of that $678,450, the road department would get $432,000, and the schools would get $144,000. That's for the Title I. The Title II is retained by the federal agency for projects on federal land, and those have to be approved by the advisory committee for the federal projects. And so they would keep up to $54,000 of that 678. And the Title III is paid to the county. It's Fund 106, and you're familiar with the Title III. We obligate that for federal projects on federal land-related uses, like the wildfire and emergency services. And last year we did the search and rescue trailer. And as I said before, the ONC County money, it all goes to the general fund. There's no restrictions on that. So that $99,000 would go straight into the general fund, whereas the SRS payment would go split in between these three.
The Title III amount?
Title III would be 47,000.
The Title I was 432.
So I'll read them again. So, okay. Title I, of the 678,450 SRS money, the Title I road department would get 432,000, and the school districts would get 144. The Title II is the money the federal government keeps for those special projects. So it's $54,000 to them. And the Title III would be 47,000.
Okay. And just a reminder, this is a choice we have to make whether we want to, and this is the SRS funding that was being held up for a while and finally Congress passed.
Correct.
Allocated it. We've been waiting to see, we thought maybe with the OOC changes.
That didn't happen.
25% that we were holding our breath because that money would come with less restrictions. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out. So the decision today is, do we take the 99
versus
restricted or the 678? I think it's a no-brainer for me.
Commissioner Scar had mentioned that the legislation is still out there for the ONC to take it out there, but it hasn't passed, and she recommended opting for the SRS payment.
And I know Commissioner, I'm sorry she's not here because she could speak in detail, but I know she's been looking out for us, and I trust her judgment on that decision, because we were holding out, trying to benefit the county the most. And so anyway,
I think the breakdown that Deborah provided helps make that decision.
I think so too. I really appreciate the work you did to break this down, because when I was looking at it, Isabel, this morning, we were talking about it, I was like,
so convoluted.
It's really convoluted. Once again, talking about federal money and how it comes to us and gets allocated. And we just want to make sure we make the right decisions to benefit our.
And the title, between those Title I, II, and III, there are further restrictions as to what percentage of that $678,000 you can allocate.
Sure.
So,
and what, well, I was going to have you speak first, but if you have any comments. I was just going to, what is, Deborah, you've looked at the numbers, and what is your recommendation?
I recommend we go with the SRS election with the same distribution allocation as we had in the prior election.
Okay.
It was 85% to Title I, that goes to our roads and schools, 8% to Title II, and 7% to Title III. That reduces the amount that is withheld by the federal feds as much as possible, getting the most to the county benefit.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree that the SRS payment is, it seems obvious that that's the best choice. And I appreciate the recommendations here, and think it's just unfortunate that we can't have both.
Yes, Rachel, please.
I just want to thank Isabel and Deborah for working on this. We had a request, or I guess a notification, that we were going to have to do this just a couple of weeks ago with no information on the amounts or the change.
Oh.
So I asked Isabel right before she went on vacation, can you work on this when you get back? And she did, just both being in standby mode. And we got the information
last night.
So they had everything ready to go to plug the numbers into.
You have the best staff here.
Appreciate them.
You're the best staff at the county, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the hard work all that you've done, and you and Commissioner Scar's on here, but all the behind the scenes stuff, she's going to all those ONC meetings and stuff. So appreciate it. So I'm ready for a motion. I'm fully supportive.
I just want to thank Deborah for the breakdown, because that was important, how the Title I was broken up, distributed, how much was going to the schools, how much to the county actually gets to keep of that. It seemed like a large number, but the distribution.
We'll pass this to our minutes, so it'll be on our
okay
agenda minutes. Okay.
Ready for a
I
motion?
am.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move approval of a fiscal year 2026 United States Forest Service election to receive and allocate Secure Rural Schools Act state payments.
I will second that. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you both again. Okay, we'll move on to board concerns. I just want to mention something, if you don't mind. And it just actually ties into that. I just want to mention that in the coming months, you're going to be noticing that some of us will be coming on remotely or won't be here at all. And that's because you were just recent appointments. And I just want folks to know, like, we always try to make our Wednesday meetings, but we are engaged at the state level and the federal level doing other things to try to, things like this, trying to maximize the amount of funds and revenue that we can get. And I just want folks to be aware that if we're not here in person, we're still out there working hard for the county. So that was my only thing I wanted to mention. And this was a perfect example of the O&C work that Erin's been working on and the stuff that you'll be working on going forward, which is on Wednesdays.
Right.
Or more. Yeah. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Do you have any more?
I don't.
All right. We have no executive session today. We have nothing to hear. Brian, do you have anything for the good of the order? Okay, Rachel. Okay, thank you both. Other meetings and announcements, the commissioners will hold a board briefing today, Wednesday, July 15th, 2026 at 2 p.m. to discuss weekly commissioner updates. This meeting will be held here, Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 at the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook. Teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607 #, and I will adjourn this meeting at 10:06 a.m. Thank you, everyone.